when you are putting on your waistband or your harness, what do you need to make sure? Make sure
that the waistband is above your hip bone.
Very good. So third, pull your harness up. Yeah?
Yeah.
Make sure to
Pull up
Above your hip bone.
yeah, very good. Why do we say make sure to? Why?
Very important.
Yeah, it's very important. So if we want to tell someone something is very important, make sure to blah, blah, blah. We can also say pay attention to. When you are putting on your harness, what do you need to pay attention to? What is important when you put on your harness? Maybe pay attention to how tight your harness is. Are there any other important things you need to think about? Maybe pay attention to how high your harness is. So, make sure to
pull up the waistband.
pull your harness high and pay attention to how high it is. We can also say, be careful to, or be careful that you. When you are putting on your harness, what things you need to be careful of? If we talk about our hip bones, so make sure your harness is high. Pay attention to how high it is. Be careful that you don't, what? Don't. Okay, yeah. Be careful to not let it fall down. Okay? So these are some things we can say to make our listener know these things are important. And finally, we can say, blah, 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 then. If you pull your harness up past your hip bones, then what? Do you remember why you pull up your harness high?
Because the hip bone is bigger than the other. If you if you don't keep your harness higher above your hip bone, maybe then it will fall down, and it is dangerous.
If you don't pull your harness high, then it will fall down. If you don't put on a harness and you go rock climbing, what happens?
And you will die. You commit suicide.
What happens if you don't wear shoes when you go rock climbing?
If you don't wear shoes, then you will hurt your feet.
Very good. So these are some things we can say when we are giving instructions. Make sure to wear a harness when you go rock climbing. Make sure to wear the right kinds of shoes. Pay attention to your harness. Be careful not to have your belt too low or your waistband too low. If your waistband is too low, then your harness will fall off. So we have these things to give better instruction. So, we said, how do you put on a harness? First, do you need to pay attention to, be careful not to, or make sure anything? Okay, so first, identify the waist loop. Second, if then, be careful that you pay attention to. Do you need to pay attention to anything when you're putting your legs in? What? That sounds very important. Pay attention to which loop you put your leg in. Make sure that your left foot goes to the left loop. Make sure your right foot goes through the right loop. With your group, I will give you 3 minutes. I want you to give me 5 steps that you must do to put on a harness. You are giving me instructions. I want you to use first, second. What else can we say? Next. Then, after that, 5 steps. Also, I want you to tell me, be careful that you, blah, blah, blah. Make sure that you, blah, blah, blah. Pay attention that you, blah, blah, blah. If something, then something else. I want you to use each one time. So make sure to one time. Make sure to what? Pay attention to one time. Pay attention to what? Okay? 5 steps how to put on a harness. First, second, then after that. And what do I need to be careful of? With your group, I will give you 3 minutes. How do I put on a harness?